Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Enter the Ether, the podcast all about the upcoming third-person MOBA Ethereal Clash of Souls. I'm your host, the Mangoose, and oh my god, is that the real JellyKnees?
Hey, it's me. Hi. What's up, guys?
What's up, Jelly? How you been?
Not much. You know, now that this is the official podcast, right, of the community.
It is.
And now I'm officially UG Jelly, right? I mean, now we're the official podcast, right? Because now we've got a dev technically on payroll.
Jelly's on the team now.
When do I start getting paid? What? But yeah, no. So that's been exciting. But with us today, we have a moderator from the community Discord, and he's here for a reason, not just because he's a moderator, but we've got Astro with us. What's up, Astro?
Hey, how you guys doing today?
Doing well. Good to have you on here. We talk to you a lot, but
we talk about you a lot too.
Yeah, behind your back mostly.
I've been watching.
But yeah, we're going to talk a lot about some different stuff today. We have been playtesting the game. A lot of guys that might take a few of you by surprise. And UG has actually cleared us to talk about a little bit of it, more than I expected them to. I expected to be able to just say that we were testing it, but we're allowed to talk about our experience a little bit, and we're going to do that today. But we're also going to talk about the NFTs that have been going on, like the little weird alternate funding method that they're using with the trading cards. So Jelly, UG Jelly. By the way, Jelly, how does that work with the tinfoil task force? Because now you know everything.
We're not going to talk about it, okay? Tinfoil task force, just stand by. But like you said, the NFTs. As of recording, the NFTs go on sale in about an hour. As of airing, the NFTs sale would have ended like 12 hours ago. So hopefully lots of money was made for UG, right? Like that's the hope for this, is that they can get a ton of funding through this process of selling these NFTs on Atomic Hub and all those cool things. Overall, for those of you that don't know what NFTs are and what UG is doing, they did a sale for 24 hours. It started on Sunday night and it went to Monday night for 24 hours that they're selling these. They're called non-fungible tokens, which are digital assets that you can own, whether it be a photo, a video, music, art, whatever it is. They can be a whole bunch of things, but you own this digital asset and you pay money for it and can trade it with people. So in UG's case, they're kind of creating a small trading card system out of these NFTs that they've got multiple tiers. Think like shiny Pokemon cards versus regular Pokemon cards. Very kind of similar to that. That they will have a limited number of packs. I believe the number is like 46,000 packs of these cards available. And once they're sold out, or once the 24 hours is up, that's it. That's as many exist in the world. So if I buy an NFT and I get the best Acheron NFT, the tier 3, and Astro says, I really want that, he can then trade me something for it. Hey, look at that. He said it. He can trade me for it and whatever that may be. He may trade me another NFT. He may trade me money. He may trade me cryptocurrency, something among those lines. Yeah, that's the general gist about NFTs and what Ethereal's doing with them. But Mangoose, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the whole shebang.
Well, I think NFTs really are just a continuation of just art trading. I mean, it's the value is whatever people place on it, not what it is. Like my comparison is like the Mona Lisa. Like if anybody can own a print of the Mona Lisa, but there's only one original, and that one is the one that's worth a whole lot. With the NFTs, there's like a digital signature sort of that classifies them as the original. So when you have that, you have, I don't know, I guess digital trail, not a paper trail that shows that it was the original. And it's more of a way it's more of an investment opportunity than anything. Like it's cool that they're doing these trading cards and everything like that. But I think a lot of the people that are going to be grabbing up these NFTs are people that just want to invest in something. And if you think that Ethereal is going to take off, then it's a great investment, but people will just invest in it anyway because people just assign value to worthless things. I think it's smart of UG to get into this, I think the entire system is dumb as fuck. Like, like I would never put my money into this. I know a lot of people will, but like I didn't put my money into Bitcoin or Dogecoin either, and that shit took off, and a bunch of people made a bunch of money off of it. So just because I think it's stupid doesn't mean that it's not going to make people money. But you know, I still think Dogecoin is stupid as fuck. It's just assigning arbitrary value.
As someone who made money from Dogecoin is stupid, 100%. There's no question about that.
Was it actually made as a joke anyway?
It was.
Yeah, it was. But I mean, I think it's a great way for them to get funding, and they're using their art team, which we've already discussed. Their art team's done. Like their art is awesome. So the art team's not doing anything right now because the main focus is on like animations and visual effects and stuff like that. So this is just kind of a way to get their art team employed and moving and doing something. And I think their art team is the ones that actually came up with the idea of doing this.
Yeah, that's my understanding as well, is that the art team kind of approached them, said, this is something we're doing on the side to make money. Right. And we think using the ethereal characters could be a great like asset that we use the license, get promoted on the site itself, all these things, and do it as an extra thing out of our free time, outside of the work that needs to be done on the game, right? Like there was no work taken away from Ethereal to produce these assets. Which I think is a nice thing that they took into consideration going for this.
This kind of got announced for them though. Like there was somebody found the NFTs on a website and then posted in Discord, and shit hit the fan. Like they got really defensive about it, and that set off some red flags for me. And I was like, oh, whoa, because I'd never heard of a fucking NFT before any of this. So when I saw them get defensive about it, and the way they were defensive about it, they were talking about environmental impact and stuff, and I'm like, what in the fuck is this? What is going on? So I had to look it up. Apparently a lot of the NFTs are traded with Bitcoin. It doesn't have to be, but a vast majority of them are, and Bitcoin is known for using a lot of power and having a huge carbon footprint. They felt that the lashback from the community would be over the environmental impact of supporting Bitcoin, but they're using this wax blockchain, something or other, that has very little environmental impact, so they are taking that into consideration. They could be making more money if they were using a different system, but they decided to use the more environmentally friendly one. So that's cool. So that's why, like, my red flags went off pretty fucking hard when they got all defensive, but it ended up being nothing, and I was like, oh, well, this is fine. Like, it's not affecting the game or anything. But then that's my problem, is it now affects the game in some way. Buying these NFTs, these little trading cards, you can actually have one of those as your profile pic in the game going forward. Now, they said in the past that they were not going to take any money for the game itself until they had a gameplay trailer out. They're taking money for things that are going to be in the game. They don't have a gameplay trailer. They kind of went back on something that they promised us. I don't like that at all. I think that they should have been accepting funding from the get-go. I think they should have had a Patreon set up, something like that. They should have had some way to rely on to pay people and get the process for producing this game moving. Like, I understand why they didn't want to accept money, because there's a lot of like scam Kickstarter companies out there that just promise a game, take a bunch of money, and then the game never comes out, and there's nothing anybody can really do about it. So they wanted to avoid that stigma of being a game like that. So I completely understand why they weren't taking money. I really wish they were, but I also wish that they wouldn't have said that we're not going to take money, and then now they're taking money. It's what it is, I guess. I'm not happy about that, like, at all, but you got to do what you got to do. And I'm talking to you, Jelly, since you're a UG member now.
Yep, I know. I think for that in particular, right, speaking as UG and just as myself, I think it's a double-edged sword, right? I agree with you that from the get-go, they probably should have been getting funding of some kind. But I also understand the valiant effort of saying, like, we don't want to ask you for money until we have something to show. But that concept could be what led us to a 3-year development time by the same token. So it's that weird kind of double-edged sword of, at what point do we need money to do this, even before we show gameplay? So it's a hard line to toe. But I definitely see where you're coming from on that frustration
Right.
of saying this and then reneging on it.
And
as of
also
that announcement.
leads me to believe that the gameplay trailer is not coming. I thought the gameplay trailer would be coming fairly soon, but if they're already going back on their word and releasing these NFTs, that kind of that's indicative that the gameplay trailer isn't coming out anytime soon. Otherwise, I would have just waited till the gameplay trailer to drop these NFTs. Like, if the gameplay trailer was a week, they could have waited a week and dropped the NFTs. So it's obviously not going to be a week from now that we get the gameplay trailer.
Part of the conversation I had with Owen and Kai prior to me joining the team, but about the NFTs when that whole leak situation came out, is that the NFT market has the potential to die out anytime. Right? That as of tomorrow, NFTs could be worth nobody's into NFTs. It could be like the flavor of the month type deal. So
It could
they
be
were
GameStop.
concerned. Say it again.
It could be GameStop.
Yes. So they were concerned that if they waited too long to try and get this out, even if it was ready to go or not, that the flavor could be done and they can't make any money off of that toward the end of helping fund the game. Again, I think it's that double-edged sword, right? It's you said the next thing was the Kickstarter and the gameplay trailer. Here we are, right? So it's hard to balance, to be sure. That is something that I am working on as part of the team to keep that from happening in the future. That is something that I, to my core, take to the utmost, right? And that's going in my thought process on, like, when we say something, we have to actually mean that thing. It's not, we can't just constantly be wishy-washy or not sure or whatever it's going to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Astro, what are your thoughts on the NFTs?
So, to touch a little bit on what Mangoose was saying regarding them saying, oh, we're not going to take your money, but then flopping that, and now it affects the game, and in this kind of, weird situation where you said one thing, but then kind of did another, but it's not really a big thing, but it still is a thing. I can kind of get both sides, where it's like, oh, you guys said you weren't going to do this, but now you're doing this. But then I also get a lot of people after hearing about the NFTs were like, there were so many questions of, does this affect the game? Can I use this in any way in the game? There were so many questions regarding, regarding what can I do with this other than just have it? And I feel like that's a lot of NFTs. It's just, I have this thing. I just have it, and it's just kind of like most other cryptocurrencies where you just have it for the investment. And, well, maybe not most other, but things like Bitcoin and Ethereum where you have it for the potential asset in the future where they generally increase in value. But I understand the reason that they added the whole profile picture thing. So a lot of people are like, hey, I want to be able to do something with this. So I kind of get both sides. At first, I was really, really confused, and I was kind of with Mangoose and the extreme red flags of just, what the hell is this? Why are they getting so defensive about it? I was really, really confused and almost concerned, just because I thought it was a scam before I knew really anything about NFTs. But now, having looked into it and talked with you guys, seen a lot of what the community is saying, and just in general, I think it's all around positive. And they look great. I mean, I think that's an indisputable fact is the NFTs, they look amazing. The art team really outdid themselves in this. But yeah, that's just kind of my general thought process regarding it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was, at first, after I looked into it, I was kind of white knighting for them hard and trying to convince people that this isn't such a bad thing. But once they had it to where it affects the game in some way, that's when I took a step back. I was like, oh, okay, wait a second, guys. Because I know it seems like a small thing, like the profile picture, but I was discussing this with you, Jelly, earlier. For somebody that's a completionist that wants to collect every profile picture and every skin and every this and that, it's forcing them to have to buy into this NFT stuff that they may not want to do in order to complete their collection, to have all of the profile pics. So it
has the potential to get really expensive too.
It does. It really does. Like, if you want that Nikolai profile pic, and if that's the most expensive NFT, you're looking at quite a bit of money. Wasn't there an NFT that sold for like $2 million or some shit like that?
I think one sold for like over 6.
Yeah, on Atomic Hub, the website that UG is using.
Yeah.
I think the biggest sale is 6.5 million for one NFT.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just a video of like people walking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a piece of modern art a piece of
Yeah.
digital modern art is what it was that sold for like 6 million. A lot of people think that's dumb, but again, the Mona Lisa, how much is the Mona Lisa worth? I have no fucking idea, but it's worth a whole
Crazy.
shitload. And if I had the Mona
Yeah.
Lisa, what the hell would I do with it? Just put it on my wall. Like, it's not going to do
You see
anything for
Mangus
me.
there with the owl and the Mona Lisa right next to it. You know?
I mean, I love my owl. I'm glad I grabbed that from that fucking house.
I'm gonna buy you a knockoff Mona Lisa painting just so you can stick it on the wall next to the owl. I think
Get
that'd be
his own
incredible.
dedicated face cam, the Mona Lisa.
The other side of the thing, we'll put the scream in as the like both sides of that. Perfect. Big fan.
Ugh. Let's move on to something a little more fun, though. You guys done talking
Agreed.
about NFTs?
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
I'm good,
Let's talk about the testing then. Woo!
dude.
Woo!
So I mean, let's start just kind of overall thoughts. We'll start with you, Astro. Like, what have your feelings been on testing thus far? I
So
know you tested a little bit more than Mangoose and myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd love to hear all your thoughts.
So in the very, very beginning, it was extremely overwhelming with just getting access to something that I've been waiting for years, since 2018. It's been a long ride of just seeing Ethereal and kind of watching it change and grow and all of these developments and setbacks and just these little pieces here and there just throughout the past few years, and getting access was just like, I'm here. Oh my God. This
Kind
is
of that like
insane.
surreal moment of like, wait, like I'm actually doing this thing? Like what?
Yeah, like this is happening. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. What now? So, of course, I instantly forget all of the kits. It's just out of my brain. It's like, how do I play this game again? What's a MOBA? So you just sit there walking around looking at things and you're just like, I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. But after playing and after across the next few days and whatnot, I think it's been approaching about a week now, actually. And I think it has a really, really great framework. Of course, as any alpha will have, it has its own, little pieces here and there to kind of iron out and get more polish and whatnot. But I think it has a really, really great framework. And I think something that really, really kind of sells me and kind of shows the potential is flying as Leia is just, it's great. It's so just satisfying, and I feel like that is a really, really, really good indication of where the game could be in the future.
I know in that case, like I played Leah. My first game I played was Leah, right? Jungle main here, have to play Leah, right?
Yeah.
And I think I spent like half the match just flying places that I was just like, fly over there, fly over there, right? Like, oh, it was so much fun to use, like just to see it in action and actually experience it was such a cool, like you said, like a surreal experience. Like you're just like, I'm here doing the thing that I've dreamt about, that I've been considering and wandering and all of these things for years at this point. What about you, Mangoose? What were your kind of general thoughts on testing so far?
I'm kind of with Astro. Like my first one, I picked Malaya. Of course, I wanted to go with Malaya, and I completely took off without buying any items or anything. Just running around, and I'm killing jungle camps. And I forget who it was asked me, "Did you get a mark like the smite item for Ethereal?" I'm like, no, I don't fucking care about any of that. Just let me run around this map and look at everything. Like I'm not trying to play a serious match here. Oh, it was so fun though. Like it's definitely in alpha state. I've played a lot of alphas. This one is in alpha state. It's not ready. It's definitely not ready for release. But it was fun. There was a lot of things functioned that I didn't expect to function. Like it was. I'd say that it was an alpha state, but it was further ahead than I thought. And not only that, but all of the feedback that I've had has been listened to already. A lot of it has been fixed. So they're definitely taking what we're telling them from the testing and using that information to improve the game. And that's really good to see. There was a lot of known bugs and everything, but like stuff that kind of just caught my eye. I just put in a document and sent it in. And or while I was playing with the team, I would just say aloud some stuff that was bothering me, and they would attempt to fix it right then and there, which was really nice. I will say the map. The map is probably the most intimidating thing to people that are looking at this game, because they look at the map and it looks massive. I was expecting to get lost immediately. It took me maybe 2 matches and I knew the map pretty well. There was a lot of stuff that I didn't like. I was still finding like different paths that I could take and everything later on, but I knew it wasn't that hard to navigate. That blew my mind. Like, I was not expecting that. I was expecting to be so lost. And I guess I still get lost on the fault map. Like, I forget which way to go. And I've been playing that game forever. I don't know. It was just intuitive, the layout of the map. And it was not that hard to navigate. And it didn't take that much time to traverse lanes. It was, the map was far more balanced than I expected it to be. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, I completely agree. The thing for like you guys, right? The kind of forgetting to do things when you just got on the map the first time. You guys know me. I know the items forward, backwards, sideways, slantways, every other thing. Right? I look at the item shop and I'm like, I don't know what an item is. I don't have any idea. What do I build? Who am I again? Like attack speed Noxus? I did that semi-intentionally, but but yeah, it was kind of that, like, you just got so caught in like doing things and learning it and figuring it out but it didn't feel overwhelming necessarily either. It kind of just felt like a normal learning curve of playing something new more than the feeling of being overwhelmed by it all.
Yeah. Well, when I say overwhelmed, it wasn't necessarily by the game being too much. It was just from the anticipation of 3 years. Just
You were emotionally overwhelmed, yeah.
Yes.
Overall, I mean, so Mangoose and I, right? We played a game of Noxus v Noxus.
Yeah.
Right? And it was a long game, right? Because damage to towers was weird for magic characters, right? But it was still fun because he and I are still going at it, just 1v1ing, just being like,
Yeah.
screw you, man, and doing our laser, right? And doing, like, it was just fun to play. Which is something we talked about in the Extra Life test before, Mangoose, but that it just was fun, right? Like, at a baseline, just being fun is a good metric to have, right? Yeah, you can fix animations, you can fix sounds, you can fix other things, you can balance tweak the whole 9 yards, but having something fun is the most important part,
right,
initially. And I would definitely say that I've been having fun in my testing thus far.
I think the top 2 things of just in general gaming is having fun and it feels good to play. I think those are the top 2 things of what is, you know, kind of essential in, well, a game, well, for fun.
Right. A quick anecdote, and I hope I'm not overstepping what we're allowed to say about the testing, but a lot of Ethereal for me has been like, you see these kits, you see these items, you see all these myths and or heroes, whatever you want to call them, and you think, oh, I want to do that with this person, I want to do that with this person, and I was able to do that in the testing. And if you guys don't know, Jelly's going to know as soon as I start talking about this exactly what I'm talking about.
But I already know.
Noxus's passive is that whenever she after it's on a pretty long cooldown, but she builds up magical power, and when she dies, instead of dying, she resurrects kind of like Greystone, except she's able to move and she pulses damage around her. I had no health, no mana. JellyKnees is coming at me, but he's really low, and I'm like, I'm just going to fly straight at him and hope that he kills me. And sure as shit, he killed me. My passive procced. His passive was down, so I was able to get the kill on Jelly by using Nox's passive. And it felt so good, because I imagine that's how you would use her passive a lot of times. Like, you have nothing else, no mana, they're still low. You just fly at them, hope that a minion kills them or hope that they kill you. And you can proc that passive. And I was able to do that. And that was a fun moment. That was like a real, like, yeah, this is going to be a great fucking game right here.
And I went into that so confident too. I went in there, I was like, he's low health, I'm just gonna go in there, I'm gonna beam him down, it's gonna be real easy. And then I died, and it was like, well, that didn't go as planned, but okay. So the thing, we've talked about it briefly, like they were working on fixes already or really receptive to feedback. Something that I've noticed in the time that I've been part of the testing, and even just part of UG in general, is that stuff is constant. Them working on the balances, them working on fixing things, it's just a constant state for them. That they put out for the testing people that are part of it already, they put out at least a patch like a week from what I've seen, if not two, right? That they constantly are iterating, constantly are balancing, changing, fixing things based on feel, right? Like big things, small things all over the place. They're really quick to get those turnarounds, which I think is a great thing to see.
Yeah.
It's not taking a month to update the test, and then you're overwhelmed with all the fixes and changes because you got used to the broken state, right? That it's actually going to be evolving throughout the time that we're testing the game already, which I think is super awesome.
And on that note, I think something that's really, really great is even if they don't throw something out as a fix, a change, balance, whatever it may be, but you mention something, say like the majority of the time when I say, oh well, this is kind of like this or that's like that, they're like, oh yeah, we're fixing that, or oh yeah, we know we're on that. If it's not in the works or already done, they're like, oh yeah, we're working on it. And that's really great to see that they're constantly aware and very, very proactive with what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. So Mangoose, or the myths that you played, what did you how did you feel in general on them? You talked about Noxus a little bit already, but kind of what were your general feelings on all the myths you've tried so far?
Well, I was able to play Malaya, Noxus, and Dante. Those are the three that I was able to play, and they were all really fun. If I had to the state of the game right now is much like predecessor's first closed alpha, and I'm talking their closed alpha back in 2018, I think it was, or 2019, something like that, where it was functional and it was great for internal testing, but if they were to release it to the community right now, it would piss people off because it's still rough. It's still an alpha. It's functional but rough. So it's just, we see how great predecessor is now. They just need to get in there and make those fixes before it's community ready. If they were to put a lot of people are open-minded and would completely understand that rough around the edges alpha feel, but there's way more people that would just shit on the game and kill it before it could fucking be born. So I think they need to take a lot of time and rough out those edges before they can release a community alpha, but I think it's great. And like you said, the metric that we should be using is, was it fun? And all three myths that I played were extremely fun, and I had a great time playing them.
Yeah, I completely agree. What about you, Astro? Who would you say are the myths that you've enjoyed most thus far?
The myths that I have enjoyed thus far. So I have been able to play every single myth. Some more than others, just because I've started to gravitate towards a few. Like I've only played Aron once, but even though I've only played him once, he's still pretty fun. Must buy some meatball.
Oh, the Iran meatball. It's going to be the biggest meme, I can tell already.
But, I think the three that I'm really liking are Malaya, Dante, and Noxus.
Okay.
I just really like how they feel, their interactions. Malaya's a little broken. Just these little things here.
Yeah, she is.
Oh my god, she's insane.
So good. But it's just
awesome.
one thing, but she's just really fun. It just feels good to play these few characters, aside from even despite these few little pieces, like, oh, this feels, a little weird here and there. Just overall, it's just, it feels great. And then if they went that one step to make this a little more polished, I think it would be insanely just perfect. Wow, chef's kiss.
There was, one of the examples I have of like a bug that happened with one of the items that has since been fixed was Bow of Hysteria turned anybody into machine gun of whatever their basic attack was. Because you bought that item and you just were able to shred people apart in milliseconds. It was so much fun, but so broken at the same time.
They were so confused when I accidentally found that. But within like 2 minutes, they were like, "Oh, I know what it is," and then he instantly fixed it. Skifter was on it.
Yeah, which is great. Like that's a cool thing to see that they can be very quickly locate it and say, "Oh, yep, fixed now. Next patch will be good."
Yep.
For myself,
for that moment,
I think the people I've played everybody as well. But I think the ones that I've enjoyed the most are Talos, Aran, and Leah. Leah, because her flying is just, it feels so good. Just that's the only way I can think to describe it. Is it just feels good to fly? And we talked about this briefly, Astro, but the kind of just that, I think that's an important feeling for them to capture. It being fun and things feeling satisfying, like the kind of keynote abilities, so the class abilities themselves, or do all the class abilities feel satisfying to use? I think it's something that they need to use as a metric of success for their game.
Yep.
Right. If you can use every class ability and it feels good to use, that's a successful ability, right?
Yeah.
Congrats.
I feel like it's almost undersold in certain aspects in certain games where it's like, if something can be, on paper amazing and well balanced and, all of these different checkboxes hit, but if it feels like dog shit to use, people aren't going to want to play it.
Right.
Yep. Absolutely. But so yeah, Leah, I'm going to be a Leah fanboy until the day I die. And Toxis, Aran, and Talos are my two others for sure. Talos' ability to like combo together things feels so good.
Oh yeah.
Like it's just satisfying to be able to be like Q1 basic attack, Q2 E, right? Like it just it's so good feeling. And Aran's stacks. I had a game that I was against Skifter, and I had 350 stacks built up on Aran's passive, and I went full damage, so I was pretty tanky with health, and then I had full damage on top of it, and he was playing a fed Dante, and I just walked up, grabbed him, and just killed him in like a couple seconds. And he was like, how did you do that? I was like, yeah, full AP Aran, let's go, right? Like, it just felt so like satisfying to pull that off.
Flexing on him.
Oh, so good, so good.
There's a lot of outplay potential in the game right now too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I feel so bad for Sinis. He hates going against me. we had a 1v1 game, and the next day he was like, all right, I need to get my revenge. You outplayed me too much.
For the like items and stuff though, some of them aren't active yet, but the vast majority of them have their passive abilities active in game that you can use and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Is there any one that like sticks out to you guys that you're like, hey, I really liked using this one or anything like that?
Full of hysteria.
Okay. Bow of Hysteria after bug fix though.
Still good. I still like it.
Nothing really stood out to me, to be honest. Like, I didn't really focus on the items as much as just, I was mainly focused on testing out certain functionality of the game and like, and exploring. My first match was all about exploring. But when I did start getting into fights with Malaya, like I said, the outplay potential is amazing. Like, you see Aran charging straight at you, you just bubble and you're like, nice grab, nerd.
The game we had, Noxus v Noxus, I tried so hard to kill you with her beam through a wall. I spent like easily a minute and a half like sitting on the other side of a wall trying to beam through it to kill you. I end up starting to run away because I'm low health. You toss a beam, like randomly sweep it through the wall and kill me. And I was like, what? I was trying so hard to do that. What the heck, nigga? Oh, dude, it felt so bad.
I'm ashamed to say I didn't know you could use it through a wall.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
Oh, yeah.
So cool.
That is awesome, though.
But yeah, so Bow of Hysteria for you, Astro?
Yeah, I'd say Bow of Hysteria, and then I just like the chunky passives where they give you like the gain 10% of your extra magical power, these different things
where you can like feel your damage just
I get this tier 3 and it's just I do a lot of damage now. Awesome.
Absolutely.
I'm really excited for I think it's Heaven's Blade. It's one of the handful that there's like it's like 5 or 6. There's not too many, but it's one of the handful that aren't implemented yet. I'm really excited to get my hands on that because it sounds like it's gonna be so annoying.
Heaven's Blade's the knockup, right?
Yep.
Yeah, every handful of basic attacks, you get a knockup on your attack.
Yeah.
Super fun. And it may make Malaya just go through the roof in terms of being broken again.
Man.
The potions worked in the game, which surprised me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Potions, the marks, the buffs all worked
Yeah.
from what we could see.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it felt great. The buffs. So for those of you that don't know, the buffs you have to actually pick up. They're not just kill the thing to get the buff. Which is still in debate in testing, right, of what that should feel like and look like. But overall, I think it's a good mechanic, especially in the 3D MOBA space. I think there's a reason Smite has used it for so long.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that by a large margin. But yeah, overall, felt really good. Fighting the Wyverns and the Wyverns felt nice. Atropos, assuming I didn't die, which I did very many times trying to fight Atropos, felt good. Like overall, just really well done thus far. Still lots of work to do for sure, but well done so far.
Blue buff is really scary for the wrong reasons.
Yes, tell them, Mangoose, tell them.
So blue buff's footsteps are equivalent to the footsteps in Predecessor when they first launched, if you guys remember that. But yeah, I'm coming through the jungle and all of a sudden I hear a fucking T-Rex behind me. Clong, 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 clong. I turn around and it's a fucking blue buff. I'm like, what the? I thought there was an Iran behind me or Grognark had been added in and I didn't even realize it. It felt like the world was about to blow up. It was blue buff.
That's funny.
Oh my god, yeah. You said it. I heard you say it once. We were in Discord. And you're like, blue buff, holy crap, right? And then I was like, well, I haven't heard that. What the heck? And then the next time I went up to Ice Lane, I walked past and I heard it and I was like, oh my god, like he wasn't wrong. That's terrifying.
Yeah,
there's a part of me that wants that to stay in though, because just for the memes of like T-Rex blue buff walking around.
Oh man. I will say, I don't know if you guys know. You guys know I was former military. I was a paratrooper in the 82nd Airborne, so I've jumped out of planes and shit. Jumping off the fucking lanes made my stomach flip. like jumping from ice lane to void lane made my stomach flip a little bit. Like it's a drop.
When you jump, that you're like, am I gonna make it? Like it was like this moment of like, I think I might fall off the map, and then you land and you're like, oh, I didn't. Okay, thanks.
It's hilarious that you say that because every time I've had that feeling, and then the one time we're like, no, I'll be fine. I'm like, oh no. Oh, no. And I'm like, wait, no, there's a ledge. There wasn't a ledge. Oh, it was so good.
And then kind of just the last thing, we've talked about it a little bit already, but what do you guys feel about the general state of balance, right? To me, nothing felt crazy overtuned one way or the other, with the exception of some bugs that existed, to be sure, right? But
yeah.
Nothing came out to me and was like, oh yeah, that's too strong. That needs to be nerfed right this second. Like,
yeah, no, I agree. I think overall everybody felt, relatively where they should be in the sense of, oh, is the support out DPSing a Dante? No? Okay, that's probably a good thing. Stuff like that where it wasn't, super just wrong. I feel like things feel relatively good, and as you said, with a few bugs being, fixed and whatnot, I think they're definitely in a solid position.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I felt was broken. One thing. Iran's ability to just fucking peace out whenever he wanted. Because, Iran has that charge ability where he can charge in, run in, and grab somebody. But you can also just run away with it. There's no fucking catching it. Because he's
so good. He's like Roadrunner's out of there too. His legs are like going, or like Flintstones at the same time, right? They just keep paddling real fast and he takes off down the lane.
I asked him about it. It's supposed to build up. Like he's not supposed to just immediately take off. So that's something that they will fix. But yeah, like Skifter will be on low health and I was on Malaya and I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm going to get him. Boom! Every time, like the fucking Roadrunner, and I'm the coyote sitting there.
So
my big old slappy hands just waving in the air where he used to be.
Jelly, you kept up with me when I was playing Aura and I was using that to run away. You kept up with me.
Oh my god, I was playing Dante and I had to chase him. I used everything I had. I was like, okay, run, roll, one, right? And then like hit him just barely, and then run, roll again, right? And use your ultimate. Like keep just whatever I could to keep up with him. Oh man. But yeah, it's been super great so far. I'm excited to test more going forward. Any kind of final thoughts from you guys?
I would just like to say that like we said, I guess like I said, it's functional but rough. But the metric to judge a game on is fun, and it was extremely fun. So that's my final thoughts. Astro, what do you got?
No, I agree on that. I think they have a really great framework, and I think with the over the next coming months and iterations and whatnot, and with a little bit of polishing, I'm really excited for the future.
Jelly?
Yeah, I completely agree with both of you. It's a good start, right? They're in the right frame of mind for taking feedback from testers. They are willing to change things, willing to balance. And not even like little numbers tweaks, right? Like if you say, I'm going to use a random, if you say Grognark's rolling around the map is too OP, that's not a thing. I'm not confirming anything. Don't think it's a thing. Though I would hope it is. I don't know for sure, but I would hope it is. But if Grognark's rolling around was too strong, maybe we decrease the speed or decrease the ability or rework the ability, right? It sounds like they'd be open to that kind of feedback as well. They don't think that they did everything perfectly and now it's just tweaking numbers. They're willing to explore other avenues of balance if it comes to that.
Yeah, which is great.
Yeah, absolutely.
The open-mindedness.
Yeah, I think that's all I got.
Yeah, I think that about wraps up this episode then, yeah?
Yeah.
Move on to plugs. Jelly, you got anything to plug?
Ethereal Clash of Souls. I'm a developer technically now, so yeah, that's really the big thing. Yeah, that's as much as I can say for now.
Astro?
I'd say my Twitch, I've been a little bit inconsistent. It's at the Cosmic Astro, but when Ethereal comes out, you know what we're doing.
Right on. I'll have that linked in the description below if you guys want to check out Astro's Twitch. Get some Ethereal content eventually.
Yeah, what about you, Mangoose? What are you up to? Now that you're back to the land of the living.
Oh, I made that video about NFTs and then immediately had to fucking change it because they released some new info. So I guess I'm going to work on that. Yeah, now that I'm back from the dead, I don't know. I'll just do some videos. I think that's going to wrap it up. It was a pleasant surprise to be able to test the game internally, and it gives me a lot more confidence in telling you guys that this game is going to be awesome. Like a lot of times I was kind of reserved in promoting Ethereal because I had no real way to tell if it was a real game and if it was really going to happen. But now I know for goddamn sure that it is. So when it comes out and you guys are able to play it, I hope you all join us as we enter the ether. Mangoose.